Hi, I'm David. This is Lessons from a Decade of Listening. Now, I want to take us back and share a story from 2019, which I still describe as a really sort of seminal, pivotal moment for us at Harkn. Monday morning, I get into work. There's an email from one of our clients saying, look, there's a comment on the wall. We're a bit worried about it. Can we find out more about it? Now, back in 2019, Harkn was still very much built as a tool for understanding sort of group morale, based around a much simpler set of technology. But some of the things remain the same. So check-in routine still worked in the same way. What we did with it has changed dramatically. And comments would be still shared on the wall, albeit in nothing like as interactive a way. But what this email contains is a snippet and an image of something from the wall. And so this is a rating of 5. Now, our rating process is 0 to 100. You start at 50 and you choose to go one way or another. So a rating of 5 is immediately significant. Somebody's chosen to go there. And alongside it is a comment that says, really worried about the future. I don't know how I can afford to pay for the funeral, let alone get my family to it. I guess mum could have picked a better month to die. And that's a terribly sad thing to read. And the client was basically saying, can we do something? Can we help this person? But at that time, we had no way of identifying anything about this individual at all. And so we reconstructed from the database a picture, a profile of recent history. And what we realized was that 5 or 6 weeks prior, here was a lady in the US that was utterly unremarkable in our terms. So she checked in most days, rated between 60 and 70, so a very positive individual, and talked about the stuff that people talk about, right? So sometimes home, sometimes work, sometimes good stuff, sometimes bad stuff, often benign things. But at the first mention of a decline in her mother's health, she drops into the 50s and then hung around there for a week or so. And then at that point, the company changed its shift allocation process, which has an effect on lots of people. So a new system and a new process and creates uncertainty. And so she drops into the 40s. And then we watched the vacillating between comments about declining mother's health and financial insecurity that was emerging from not knowing when shifts were coming. And so just straight line decline to 40s, 30s, 20s, teens, single figures to this point. And I think that was a real moment for us where we said, look, actually, if we have this data, we have signs of somebody declining in our data here, and if we could only get ahead of it, that would be amazing. And that moment in 2019 kicked us off to develop the algorithms that now meant that actually that same scenario we would have picked up inside the second week, alerted, generated an alert inside Harkn, and then of course start the dialogue about how we might support somebody. Now, nothing could have prevented that woman's mother from dying, but certainly the support available to them, the insecurity of the financials could have been taken care of by the organisation, and we can show that today. So I'm very proud about that. Anyway, hope you find that interesting.